And then the last one, the head. The head is the other pressure centers. We have the root, which is physical pressure, the pressure to do, and then we have the head, which is mental pressure, the pressure to think. And I have it defined, and so I notice a big difference. Like because people who have it open, and you can talk about your experience there's a certain sensitivity to the mental field around you, basically. And in my case, I feel like I'm really bulletproof. Like with the defined head, defined ajna, it's almost impossible for someone to get to me on the mental level, you know. And I notice like I can be in the middle of like even away from my community, away from my people, away from like nobody really thinking like I think, and I'm still absolutely certain in my ways, and I'm not really getting influenced. It's very difficult for doubt, for example, to creep into my mind, you know. So it's very, very stable on the mental level, and even this mental pressure, it's my own, basically, you know. It really feels like it's like that, and it's not really influenced by the outside. And so I'm curious of your experience with this openness.
Well, as we know, the head center is all about looking for inspiration. You know, this inspiration, this what else is there, you know, and it's a little bit beyond the mentalness of the Ajna. So sometimes when let's say you have a business and you are looking for inspiration, let's see what everyone else is doing or something like that, it can be challenging to have an open head, because you start saying like, oh, but this person is charging this much, or this person is doing it like this or in this other way, and it starts contaminating perhaps your own inner process, you know, because you're looking for this inspiration from the outside. So I would say, as for anyone that has an open head center, to be mindful of where you are looking for inspiration, you know, because that is going to open and amplify in you.
Yeah, it's definitely a good advice for open heads is try not to look outwards and don't draw your inspiration from there, actually. And don't try to think your way into it either. Like we cannot actually think our way into inspiration. Inspiration comes actually from, well, when the ground and the soil is prepared correctly for this inspiration to come through. And it's really based in silence, spaciousness, openness. And exactly that, when you have this openness, you need to find ways to make space and to empty the mind, you know, as cliche as it sounds, because we hear it all over the place, but here it has a very practical value, actually. And so obviously meditative practices, you know, and being able to make space. It's in a way, you can only trust the inspirations that come to you when it's coming from a deeper place of inner silence. Mm-hmm. If you're looking outwards, if you're on social media, like, oh, I'm going to do this, you know, it's like, I don't know if I would trust in that inspiration. The right inspirations is really a channeling. It's between you and a higher source, basically, you know. And so really cultivating silence, cultivating mental, again, spaciousness, whether this calmness of the mind is found through movement, especially for energy types, or whether it's found through sitting down in stillness, maybe for projectors and manifestors and non-energy types. It doesn't matter, but really finding ways, or even going on a walk in nature or something like that, but finding ways on a day-to-day basis to find this place of inner silence, basically, to make space in there. And also to be like, you know, is this even my thought? You know, like am I even thinking about something that really belongs to me in my life, or am I just thinking about other people's stuff, basically? Every time there's openness, there's a chance that it's kind of like a radio picking up on a bunch of different waves, basically, you know. And especially if you find yourself in a very mentally busy and buzzy place, you might have like so many different thoughts inside of your head. It might be a bit overwhelming. So yeah, definitely have a great awareness there.
Well, I can totally relate to that, and I have a very deep meditation practice, you know, like I practice every day for many years, and I can tell my most successful ideas that flowed, that went very easy, that just worked, most of them came from this place of being in still meditation, and then it just landed like that. It's like, okay, let's do that. And there was no question, there was no processing, there was nothing complicated about it. However, I can say though, like you can find inspiration from everyday life, let's say, but it should always be filtered through your authority. Yeah. You know, if you feel contracted, if you feel like I should be doing it like this, but I don't want to, like, don't go there. But if your authority lights up when you find this inspiration from everyday life, I think it can be correct.
Yeah.